Welcome into the Bruce Arians Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Bruce Arians. And first of all, Coach, congratulations on the win, and most importantly, congratulations on the NFC South.
Yeah, that was one of our goals when we started this season, to put one of those banners up. It's been a long time, and really, really proud of all the guys that played in that game.
And what's it like to get to celebrate a moment like that with your team?
Oh, it's fun. Those hat and T-shirt games are great, but this is just a little T-shirt. We want bigger ones.
Yes, bigger ones for sure. Especially with the adversity of last week, both the way you guys lost and then with all the injuries, how important was this win, and how much more did it mean than just the win on the stat sheet?
Yeah, it was big. You know, so many guys had to step in and step up. We had 8 starters out, and so it was a great win, great team victory.
And I imagine if last week, this time when we were doing the show, if I had told you that with approximately 1 trillion starters out, I think that's what the injury report said, 1 trillion, you would have the longest run, longest reception, and most sacks of the year in that game. What would you have said?
I would have loved it, but I wouldn't have believed it.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like I said, Cyril, he jumped in there, did a great job on 2 of those plays. I mean, he made that great touchdown block down there for Keyshawn and got a big reception. I couldn't believe he got caught, and his track status is gone.
Yeah, that's it. He's lost that status there. What about Cyril put him in a position to make those plays when he's had so few reps in a game?
Cyril works as hard as anybody on our team in practice, and he has for 2.5 years. And he's just gotten better and better, and he blocks. You know, for receivers, the position he played, taking for Chris, his spot, you have to block. And so many guys won't do it. They just want to catch passes. And he'll do whatever it takes to get on the field, and now he gets to stay on the field.
And was that the biggest determining factor in who stepped up for Mike and Chris?
There's no doubt. We're going to put the best blocker and receiver at the Z position for us, and that's Chris's spot. Tyler usually plays the F where Chris plays, in 3 wide receivers. So really proud of all those guys.
And AB, of course, here, he'd been out for a little while and didn't know the kind of shape he'd be in or having to come back if there was going to be any rust. And man, after 10 catches in a 100-yard game, I think it's safe to say those things weren't a factor.
Yeah, you could see it in practice Wednesday and Thursday. He's in great shape, and when I asked him about, just let me know, he said, I'll be there. Whatever you need, I'm in. So he played a heck of a ball game.
And with so many people out, I don't think it was exactly a surprise strategy-wise he was going to be targeted a lot. So tell me why he can still be so efficient and effective when the other team knew Brady was going to be going to him.
Yeah, I was still surprised. They had Stephon Gilmore, and he's one of the top corners in the league, and I think they thought they could play man-to-man on him and maybe take him away, and just didn't happen.
Yeah, and what did you learn about Stephon Gilmore? I mean, I know he went down with an injury, and we don't know exactly what the status is going to be yet, but since you guys are set to play them again in a couple weeks, what were some of the things that you guys had focused on with him, and had Brady been able to give any insight, having played with him before?
Yeah, he knew him very, very well, and and AB's a great route runner, so it's going to be hard for any corner to take him one-on-one and just try to get rid of him in a ball game. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, what are some of those little things that he is so good at that maybe people wouldn't appreciate?
Well, he's just so quick and decisive, and when he cuts, he cuts. I mean, it's not a slow down, it's a speed up, and that very, very few guys can do that.
And you touched earlier a little bit on Vaughn's 55-yard touchdown run, longest run of the season for us, but I wanted to hear a little bit more about that play and then Keyshawn's play overall.
Yeah, 2 great blocks by O.J. Howard and Rob Gronkowski on the edge. Sneak, jumped outside and put a great stiff arm on the guy. And then here comes Cyril Hall all the way across the field with a great effort play to get down there in front of him and make that block, and Keyshawn finished it off.
And then how about Rojo? This was definitely going to be a game where we knew he'd get a lot more touches than he has the rest of the season. He ends up with a touchdown and 20 carries for 65 yards. What did you think of his play overall, and then take us through that touchdown run?
Yeah, I thought Rojo was really solid. He was running in the middle a lot, and when we got him on the edges, he made some really good plays for us. And that was the old Green Bay sweep play down on the goal line. Allie got out there in front of him, made a great block, and Rojo's outraced everybody to the corner.
Yeah, and speaking of Allie getting out there in the block, we know the offensive line definitely got a few members to represent the team at the Pro Bowl, which I know as a head coach, Pro Bowl stuff, not the thing that you care the most about in terms of honors and awards and when you're trying to get to a Super Bowl. But what did it mean to you and the team and those guys to see them who don't always get a lot of recognition get Pro Bowl?
It means a lot. I mean, those guys have played fantastic for a number of years. And when you're on a losing team, you don't get many guys on a Pro Bowl. But when you win, people take notice. And winning gives that team success, and individual success comes from that. You get recognition.
And I know that the Saints game was definitely not their performance that they hold themselves to and the way they've looked the rest of the season. So what did you see in this game and then their ability to bounce back from that?
Yeah, great protection. Tom got the ball out of his hands and really solid run game. 150 yards rushing, that's not easy to do in this league, and that starts up front and with the tight ends too.
And we had talked about how the Saints game also wasn't Gronk's biggest game in terms of his connection with Brady, and this game as well, just one catch for 23 yards. You did mention, of course, he's always reliable in the blocking game, but what seems to have been happening lately defensively to keep him a little bit quieter on the actual receptions? Just
numbers of opportunities, He's uncharacteristically dropped a couple balls, and I thought he had a touchdown in this game, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, and the Panthers defense, they'd only been allowing 178 passing yards coming into the game, and you guys had almost that by half. What did you see that you guys were able to do, even again with so many depleted injuries, of why particularly the passing attack was still able to be so good against a defense that has handled it pretty well?
Yeah, they've got some outstanding pass rushers, and our tackles played fantastic and kept those guys and shut them out. And when your offensive line gives Tom that much time, he's going to find guys open.
And Cam Brate getting in the end zone for a touchdown, which he's now got 29 in his career, which is tied for the 5th most in the NFL by a tight end in that span. Why is he, even when he doesn't have a lot of catches, it's just always inevitable that it seems like one of them is going to be in the end zone?
Yeah, that's just his forte. He's a great red zone target. He's got great hands. He runs really good routes. He has a great feel when he's open. And stay open. Don't go run and get covered.
Right.
And he it was a great run. He jumped in there on the slant, and they passed it off to nobody. And thank God Tom saw him right away.
Yeah, nobody's our favorite defender.
Yes,
That's a good one. How about for him, just the fact that he and the tight ends overall, what do you feel like is your hope for how you'd like to use all three of them down the stretch, knowing that there are so many other injuries on the offense, where you'd like to see them pick up the slack?
Yeah, just continue to evolve. OJ had a catch, but got called back for offensive pass interference. But he blocked really. This is the best game he's had blocking. And all those guys just bring something different. And, trying to use them as much as we possibly can.
And we know Cam is that great red zone target. How did you feel about the red zone offense overall? I know there were a few that ended up in field goals that you probably would have liked to have been 7.
Probably the only disappointing thing in the offense was not converting those touchdowns.
And what do you think it was that they were doing to kind of slow down that red zone offense?
I think it was more us than them, and we missed a couple, dropped one, and didn't run the ball as well inside the 7 as we had to get to the 7. And they load the box up a little bit, but we still got to get it in there.
All right. Well, we have more coming up here on the Bruce Arians Show, so don't go anywhere. Welcome back into the Bruce Arians Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Bruce Arians. And I know you guys signed Le'Veon Bell this last week, and we know it's, injuries asking for new people to be brought in. But what was it about him in particular that made you say this is the guy we want to fill that spot?
Well, he's got a good history of being an excellent pass protector and receiver out of the backfield. And, that's where we lost in Leonard. And, get him up to speed as fast as we can. He got those last 3 plays and try to knock a little rust off of him. Get him out here another week of practice and see if we can find a role for him.
And the Panthers are now the only team in the NFL that have not allowed a touchdown on a single opening drive of the whole season. And at some point, maybe it's coincidence, but after this long into the season, there's got to be something to that. So since we are playing them again, what are they doing so well, particularly on those opening drives?
Yeah, playing a good third down defense. We made a couple first downs, but then the third down, they do a good job of getting off the field.
And then I know you had Barner in there as your return guy because of Jalen Darden being out. He had one 20-yard punt return. What did you think of his performance?
I thought he was outstanding, and that's why we brought him back, because he's done a great job for us last year. He's a veteran, knows great decisions, and he gets north and south quick.
And you also had to make a switch at punter. I know that his special teams were just as hard hit as some of the other areas. So when did you make the call on Sterling Hoffrichter coming in?
Probably after Thursday's practice. Bradley just didn't look himself, and he's been nursing that hip injury all year. And I talked to him about, will 1 week help? He said, definitely, because this is the best I've felt. Take a week off, and hopefully he's back full speed for the rest of the season. Okay, and how did you feel like Sterling did both as punter and kickoff guy? Sterling came in and did a heck of a job. I mean, he's not a rookie, he's a vet, and was in our division last year and kicked off well. We covered kickoffs well. He punted really well.
And I know that there had been a couple games where you had mentioned that Ryan Succop had missed some kicks that you just know he doesn't normally miss, shouldn't miss. How did you think of his performance now in this game?
Oh, I thought he was outstanding, and he nailed that last one from 44, 45, whatever it was, and it was way up in the net. So I really liked the way he kicked.
What do you think it was that seems like it has shifted back for him to be back on that right track?
Probably some of it's field conditions, and but for him, it's just a matter of don't pull it left.
Yeah. And how about some of the young guys that we typically see more on special teams, but got a chance to get in there in some of those final snaps? That's the beauty of being up by a fair amount in a game. You get to put some of those young guys in and check out your depth. What did you notice? Who were some of the guys you were excited to see get a few snaps in there?
Yeah, those two young linebackers, KJ and Grant, they jumped in there, did a heck of a job. Grant did a hell of a job on kickoff coverage, as did Cam Gill. Cam Gill got a lot of snaps, played really, really well, got his pressures. And so, yeah, I was really happy with everybody. I mean, everybody that dressed, I think, got in the game. And, I'd like to have seen Scotty catch that last one so we could have continued holding on to the ball. But it was a good, solid performance by everybody.
All right, well, we still have more coming up here on the Bruce Arians Show, so don't go anywhere. It's time for the Bruce Arians Show. Again, Casey Phillips here with head coach Bruce Arians. And 15 points in 2 weeks given up by your defense. That has got to be just one of the best stats a coach can hear. Oh,
there's no doubt. Not giving up a touchdown for 2 weeks in this league, that's extremely impressive. And again, I thought it was excellent up front. Our front four did a great job in this ball game. Will Golston had a career day with 2.5 sacks and 7 sacks altogether. But just shutting down the run, allowing us to get after the quarterback, and everybody seemed to get into the sack picture this week.
Yeah, it's so true. It's like they're contagious, that they just start rolling and then everybody wants in on it. So let's start with Will Golston. Tell us a little bit about his 2.5 sacks that he got and his performance overall.
Yeah, great pressure from the inside. A couple of good games they ran together with Vita, and Vita got a sack off one of those games. But again, it starts for me in the secondary. When the quarterback doesn't have the quick, easy throw, here comes the pressure, and our guys did a great job of plastering on the back end, except for one play when he scrambled out of there. But other than that, I thought the secondary, great coverage, and then let's get after the quarterback.
And Will, I think we've talked a little bit before about how he is one of the most underrated guys on this team. So what did a game and a performance like that show everybody about who Will is for the defense and can be?
He's the ultimate team player, because usually he's picking games for somebody else. And, it's great when a guy that plays so hard and plays so good for you has one of those games. That's a hallmark game.
Yeah, and Shaq, do you have an injury update on him of kind of what we know at this point?
Yeah, it's a MCL, ACL sprain, nothing serious, but don't know if we'll see him in the rest of the regular season.
Okay, and after that point, he got a sack, which puts him at 10 on the season. So now he's one of only 4 players in team history to have multiple double-digit sack seasons. And this is the other guys that are on that list. You got Leroy Selman, Simeon Rice, and Warren Sapp. Not a bad list to be a part of, I think anybody'd be happy to have their name on that. So what have you seen about why he is this next guy on the list, that he's done it consistently now for multiple seasons, putting these numbers?
Well, I think you hit the word consistent. He's got a great toolbox of different moves. He's slippery, and he's a relentless pass rusher.
So without having JPP out there and then losing Shaq at some point, what did you see from guys like Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, Anthony Nelson, some of the other guys that may be asked to step up the rest of this regular season in particular?
Yeah, Joe had a good game. His production wasn't as good as on a stat sheet as his play on the field was. And you get his pads a little bit lower on some running plays, but Anthony Nelson had a great game, as did Cam Gill.
Yeah, and Anthony Nelson, gets a sack and a half. He now has this season more sacks than his first couple seasons combined. When did something kind of click? When did a shift happen that is showing him having, especially per snap he's getting to play, some pretty crazy stats?
Yeah, I think September the light went on, and with Shaq and JPP, you can learn so much, and finding out which one of those moves fits you. And he improved his toolbox a little bit. He's got a couple moves, a counter move now, but he's got that great length, and he uses it really, really well.
And we kind of mentioned Vita earlier getting in on one, and I just feel like he should get some sort of credit for every sack, no matter who it is, or any kind of pressuring, whatever, because you know he's in there taking up multiple people. And then here he even ends up getting one while being double teamed, which has got to be the most frustrating thing to that offense in the entire world. So what did you see from his game and just overall the ways he impacted stuff that didn't even show up on the stat sheet?
Yeah, he was very, very powerful. He controlled the whole interior of this game, run game, pass game. It's one of his best games, and he wasn't on the ground at all. And that's huge for a defensive lineman.
Yeah, and Kevin Minter getting in there and getting a sack. So take us through that play and what worked well for him there.
Yeah, got another good, solid blitz. He came around the edge and made a big play. We forced him out, and he makes the play. And Kevin, again, always, when he steps in, you can always count on him.
Yeah, and what are the most challenging things about trying to fill in for a guy like Levante, and why is Kevin a guy who can fill those shoes?
Yeah, he's filled in for Devin, he's filled in for Levante, but he doesn't try to be them. Mm-hmm. He's a veteran. He knows how to play the game his way, and just be yourself. And
someone who did a pretty good job of being themselves, Jordan Whitehead. Do you think that's his best game since you've been here? One of them for sure. And if you take away the penalty, jumping up and hitting the quarterback in the head, it was a great game. But interceptions, tackles for loss, it has to be one of his top three for sure. So why do you think it was this game? What seemed to happen with him? What was it that Carolina was doing? Why was this a Jordan Whitehead day? Yeah, it was, all those quarterback runs, the ball's coming to him on the edges, and he whipped blockers and just made tackles. And I don't think he missed a tackle in the game. I think Richard Sherman tweeted after the game that he thinks Jordan is one of the best safeties in the league. So why do you think that would be true? What, if you were to make a case for that, what would it be? Well, he's physical, and he's got ball skills. So the ball seems to find him sometimes like it does Mike Edwards. But he is very, very physical. He's not afraid to throw his face in the fan, that's for sure. Yeah, and what was it like to have to play against rotating quarterbacks? That is not a thing that you face very often in the NFL. So what are the challenges of that defensively? Yeah, you're looking at two totally different offenses, Sam is the guy that's going to come in and throw it around, but he can scramble too. He made a big scramble play against us. And Cam, you just got to know what quarterback runs are coming, and are those RPOs, and he did a good job with his RPOs in this game. All right, well, we still have one more segment coming up here on the Bruce Arians Show. We'll be right back. It's our final segment here on the Bruce Arians Show. Casey Phillips here with head coach Bruce Arians, and now heading into this week playing the New York Jets. What are the things specifically about their offense that you've started to notice on film? Yeah, the young quarterback here, he's feeling his way, but he's getting better and better. Zach Wilson's a hell of a talent. And again, he's another one that can scramble and run. He had a long run touchdown in this game last week, and he presents a heck of a challenge. Who are some of the other guys offensively that you think are going to be interesting matchups? Well, they had so many guys out. It's really who's available. Well, at least it feels a little more fair considering our situation. It's so nice of them to even it out. If Elijah Moore's back in there, he's a threat for sure. And all the guys that stepped in and stepped up last week. So it's this time of year right now. Just look at jersey numbers and try to study the offense, because the people that are in there might not be there. You never know. Yeah, and how about on the defensive side of things for them? Oh, Quentin Williams is a star. C.J. Mosley, they got a good, solid defense, and I think their secondary's picking it up. And their two young safeties are really solid players too. So now, knowing you have the division locked up, and now you have an extra game than typical this time of year, does having that position locked up change anything about how you want to approach these last two games? No, because the seeding is still so important, and we won't change anything this week. The last game, if there's no chance of improvement or change, then maybe we'll look at anybody that's banged up a little bit. Yeah, and how do you feel about the idea of having a bye versus playing, and the idea of rust versus rest, and how you prioritize that either from a bye week standpoint or from a choosing to rest guys standpoint? The bye week's better, because you can't rest everybody. Who do you choose? So now you hurt somebody's feelings. All right, we're gonna rest these two guys, but we're not gonna rest you. Well, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. I need to rest too, but. So it's better just let's go play, let's win, and go play the next one. And rest everybody in that 1 week. And then finally, what are the things outside of the seeding that you want to accomplish in these last two games to know that you're in the best position possible for the playoffs? Yeah, just continue to improve with the players that we're playing with, and then hopefully get guys back and see what kind of shape they're in when they come back. And
So for us, it's just a matter of just continue. 13 wins is a lot of wins, and that's what our goal is.
All right. Well, thanks as always, Coach, and congratulations on that win.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks to you guys for joining us. We'll see you next week.